Thank you to Cuts Clothing for sponsoring this video. The Sony A7IV is one of the best cameras you can buy in 2022, so if you're new to photography, you've chosen the best camera. You may currently have the kit lens or you're trying to figure out what kind of lens you should buy, so let me help you out. Just a disclaimer, the lenses I talk about in this video can really apply to any camera, not just the A7IV. I've got 3 lenses that I think are essential to any photography and video kit or camera bag, 2 prime lenses and 1 zoom lens. The first lens we're going to go over is my absolute favorite lens of all time, the 35mm. This is the 35mm 1.4 G Master lens. It is a great lens. It is expensive, but the 35mm 1.8 lens from Sony is also a great option at half the price. Having a 35mm lens is great because 35mm is an all-around perfect focal length for everything from shooting portraits, to shooting everyday life, to shooting landscape, to shooting street photography. It's not too wide and distorted, but it's also not too zoomed in, so you don't struggle to get everything in frame that you want. Having a dedicated set of prime lenses with a low aperture is great because you cannot get a low aperture like f1.8 or 1.4 with a zoom lens. So having enough 1.4 aperture lens is great for low light photography if you want to take photos at night, and it's also great for doing portraits if you want a shallow depth of field background. So if you want that blurry background, this is the perfect lens to go with. This lens is perfect for portraits. It's perfect for taking photos of literally anything, to the point of where I keep a 35mm lens on my camera pretty much all of the time. The second lens I'm going to recommend to you guys that is essential for any camera bag as well is a wide lens. I have the 20mm 1.8. It's not too wide to where it's super distorted like a 14 or 16mm lens. With a lot of super wide lenses, you're not able to screw on a front filter. So if you buy like a 12 to 24mm lens, you're not able to screw on a front filter because the front glass element is so bulky, there is no room to screw on a filter. Well, this lens, you're able to. So if you want to screw on your ND filters, you want to screw on a polarizer or some kind of mist filter, you're more than welcome to with this lens. One thing to also remember when you're looking at lenses to buy is to look at the filter thread size, because if you get lenses with all of the same filter threads, like most of my lenses are 67mm, so that way all of my filters fit on all of my lenses and I don't have to spend an extra crazy amount of money buying filters for each of my lenses. Along with filters, the 1.8 aperture of this lens makes it very versatile for shooting landscapes or if you want to do astrophotography as well. Also, if you plan on vlogging, this lens is also great. 20mm is the perfect wide vlogging focal length. Some of my favorite photos of all time have been taken with this lens, so it's not just a great vlogging video lens, it's also great for photography as well. I'm actually going to use the 20mm lens to talk to you guys about the sponsor of this video, which is Cuts Clothing. If you're someone like me who prefers to buy high quality basics or essential clothing that doesn't have loud logos and are great for layering, especially as we go into the colder seasons, then Cuts is perfect. Cuts has everything from a variety of different style t-shirts, they have hoodies, they have jackets, they have pants, they have shorts and hats for both men and women. I gotta say, I'm extremely impressed with the quality of Cuts shirts and hoodies. So if you're looking to upgrade your wardrobe for everyday life or when you go out and take photos, Cuts is great if you want to look stylish while doing so. You can use the link in the description down below to get 15% off of your order, or use coupon code DYLANBLACKBURN for 15% off as well. Thank you again to Cuts for being the sponsor of this video. And the final lens we're going to go over is a zoom lens. Now, you may know I personally love prime lenses, and I will choose a prime lens over a zoom lens most of the time. It's also super important to have a great zoom lens in your camera bag as well, just in case you need that added versatility. A good way to look at zoom lenses is that it's a jack-of-all-trades lens. My absolute favorite zoom lens is the 24-105 f4 lens. Yeah, I'll choose this lens over a 24-70 f2.8. Now, you may be wondering why, since this lens is not as good in low light because it is only an f4 aperture. I'll explain. This lens is kind of just the perfect travel lens because you have 24mm, which is super wide enough for most landscape shots, honestly, but you also have 105, so you can zoom in quite a good bit to take any kind of like detail shots you may want. This lens is great for landscapes. This lens is great for portraits. I use this lens a lot when I do corporate headshots for commercial gigs. But most importantly, this is my favorite lens for doing video work. Now, probably 95% of the videos you have seen on my channel, or if you haven't seen, go check them out, I use the 24-105 lens. This lens is perfect for pretty much everything I need to capture for video work, and the f4 aperture is kind of that perfect middle ground. For the past year, I have not thought about getting a different lens to shoot my videos with. It has been perfect for pretty much everything, from setting it up on a tripod and getting a steady shot, but this lens also has optical steady shot, so it has that additional stabilization if you're doing any handheld video work, which is important if you're not using any kind of gimbal. You might not realize just how big of a difference the optical steady shot makes with this lens, so if you turn it off and then turn it on and you compare the videos side by side, it makes a huge difference. So when paired with the camera's IBIS, and if you turn on active steady shot, this camera is buttery smooth for video, almost as smooth as a gimbal, but without the clunkiness of carrying a gimbal around. So in this video, I tried not to recommend too overly priced lenses. Now, the most expensive lens in this video I've mentioned is the 35 1.4 G Master, but as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the 35mm 1.8 is also a great lens. So I plan on doing a comparison video and helping you guys possibly decide if it's worth paying double the price for the G Master versus the f1.8 lens. So look for that video coming soon. The 35 1.4 G Master lens comes in at around $1,300. The 20mm 1.8 comes in at around $700 to $800 depending on where you buy it. And the 24 to 105 comes in at around $1,100. And especially if you're watching this video in November or December, there's a lot of great deals on Sony lenses that are going around. So if you're looking to buy a new lens, right now is the perfect time of year to do it. So just remember, this is my personal preference of lenses. You might have different choices of lenses that you might choose, but these are the 3 most used lenses in my camera bag. So I use these 3 lenses more than any other lens in my camera bag, and they pretty much cover everything I might be shooting or would want to shoot or need to shoot. So depending on your shooting style, you may disagree and think otherwise. So comment down below and let me know your thoughts on this topic, and if you have any other lenses or lens recommendations that you can make for me or anyone else who might be watching this video. So if you're still using the kit lens for your camera, just remember the kit lens is still a great lens, and it helps give you an idea of what maybe nicer lens you might want to invest in the future. So go through and look at your catalog of photos. See what focal lengths you typically use the most when you're out taking photos. Do you use 28mm? Do you use 35, 50, or 60 or 70? You can take a look at that, and that will give you a good idea of what lens might be best for you to get one day. So if you enjoyed this video, please like the video and subscribe. I also have other videos on my channel that are similar to this video, so you can go check those out as well. So I hope I could help you guys and inspire you to possibly get out and take more photos as well. Go out and shoot.